If you love color and want easy to see results when you engrave with your Cricut Maker, then today's technique is one you're going to want to try. I'm going to show you how to get insanely vibrant color that's going to create a higher contrast, which is going to make your engraving design easier to see. Hey there, my name is Jen Swift of Well-Crafted Studio, and today's tutorial is how to engrave through Infusible Ink on Cricut Aluminum. Okay, step one is to check the heat guide. And the reason we're going to do that is because that's going to give us the instructions for the rest of the project. It's kind of a tricky thing. So this is your big tip. So you go to cricut.com/heat guide. And right here, it's going to give you some options for the material that you're going to be transferring, the type that you have, the base material that you're going onto, and then what Cricut EasyPress you have. Now, I'm going to be using the Cricut EasyPress 2. You may not actually have an EasyPress, which is totally fine. It's going to give us the temperature that we need to use. It will not let you choose the EasyPress Mini if you're using the transfer sheets, but I have used it. So it's just kind of a pain because it's like little. So if you've got the 4x4 sheets that you want to start, play with, the 4x4 Cricut Aluminum, then trying it with the Mini EasyPress totally works. But I have the Cricut EasyPress 2, and I have that because Cricut recommends that you use that with the Infusible Ink because you get a more vibrant look. You can still use the EasyPress if you have that. And like I said, you can use a regular heat press as well. So my transfer material is the transfer sheet, and then aluminum sheet is my blank, and I'm going to say apply. Now this is where it gets pretty cool because now it shows us the temperature, it tells us how long, it tells us the pressure, the peel, and it gives us this image of a stack. If you don't want to kind of interpret that, it actually has it written for you here, and then it walks through step by step what you want to do. So kind of a cool little trick there to find that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you step 2, how to go ahead and prep your materials. Step 2 is to prep your materials. So we're going to be using the Cricut Aluminum Sheets with the Cricut Infusible Ink sheets. So the Cricut Infusible Ink, sheets is aluminum sheets, and they come, there's like a gold plastic on the back, and then there's like this plastic on the front that you're going to want to peel off. But they come in 4x4, 5x7, and 8x8. We're using the 8x8 sheets. And it has kind of a permeable surface on one side. It's kind of like a coating. And what that is the coating that's made to keep or to take the infusible ink. So infusible ink is kind of like a gas when it's heated, from what I can understand. And so it kind of goes, the heat creates the gas and it goes into the surface. So it has to have some kind of coating to go into that's permeable. So cool little thing there that I didn't realize the Cricut Aluminum could do. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the rest here. So today we're using the Cricut Infusible transfer sheets. They come in a pack like this with 4 of them. You can get them like all over the place now. And they look like this. So they're not super vibrant like looking when you come out. But trust me, when you go ahead and heat them up and put them on the aluminum, they're just like, they're gorgeous. It's really fun to watch. So I cut this already. It's a 12x12 sheet, but I cut it so that it is 9x8 because I want it to overlap on either side. Actually, I haven't cut this one down yet, but I wanted to have an overlap so that I could put my heat resistant tape on either side to hold it down. I don't want to have to like put it anywhere where the blank is going to be or the metal's going to be because it will show that. I did that a bunch of times. It gets like this little like rectangle on each side and you're like, oh, that's where the tape was. So we're going to have the Cricut Aluminum, the Infusible Ink sheet. We're going to have a couple pieces of cardstock that we're going to put on top of our EasyPress mat. And we have our EasyPress. EasyPress mat, I don't know that you necessarily need, absolutely have to have it. But if you have the Cricut EasyPress, I recommend getting the mat as well. I have an ironing blanket that I was trying to use, and it's not padded like this, and it's not like, it's way big, and I'm glad that I took spent the money to get this as well. You can see here that if you don't have the cardboard down, infusible ink will go into your Easy Press and mark it. So cardstock. And then after the cardstock, we're going to go ahead and put on the butcher paper, and then we're going to go ahead and use the Easy Press. So I'm going to show you guys. We're going to go ahead and turn this on. And if I wanted to adjust the temperature, I would go to the little temperature thing, and then I would be able to plus or minus to the temperature. And the heat guide told us 385, so we're going to do that. And I already set it to 40 seconds. So I'm going to let that heat up. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to do step 3. Okay, step 3 is to create the stack. But I forgot to tell you in step 2 that when you're working with this infusible ink transfer sheet, you want to kind of crack the material or the paper so that the ink comes more readily off. And so the way to do that is like to roll it around, to go ahead and what we're just trying to do is make it so that it's easier to lift off. So, I don't know. You can hear it every once in a while. There's like this kind of crack. You can kind of hear the crack a little bit. So you just want to do that for a little bit. I talked to, I don't know. I never know how much is too much with that because it's kind of like a subjective thing. But I've got my stack going here. So there's my Easy Press mat, my cardstock to protect the mat. There's my sheet with it up and all the plastic taken off each side. And then here's my transfer sheet with it down on top of my metal blank. And I've made sure that everything is where it's supposed to be. And that heat resistant tape is a Cricut product. So if you're wondering where I got that. And this is all set and ready to go. So I'm just going to go ahead and try to set it right. Get my cords out of the way. Set it right on top. Let's see, I can kind of feel where it is, the metal sheet, like the edges of it. I just want it on top. And if it's not completely on top, it's no big deal. I've done this before where you can actually see with this one where maybe part of it wasn't transferring as well. And it's because actually I didn't have my Easy Press on a flat surface. And so it actually went and kind of got lines in it. And so then I'm like, oh, that's not right. So I went and actually just pulled it off of it and it was totally fine. So you can, I guess what I'm trying to say is if it screws up, you don't like what it looks like, just go ahead and put it back down and then do this again. Oops, I forgot to set my timer. We'll just set 10 seconds off. Although again, I have been able to kind of take it off and put it back on, so I don't know that the 40 seconds is completely necessary. You can do 80 seconds or whatever else. So okay, so that's about where we need it to be. So I'm going to go and show you. So it's a cool peel, which means that when it's cool, you're going to want to go ahead and peel it up. But I'm going to show you guys right now just because. So you can see what a nice crisp look that has. So, and I think it transferred really well. It looks like it went on. Oh, looks like I was off a little bit on the edge here, but I'm going to call that okay. And that was my placement of my iron. But otherwise, I think that looks really great. Much more vivid. Okay, so now we're going to move on to step 4. Step 4 is to upload and insert your design into Cricut Design Space. So to get the free design, I'm over at wellcraftedstudio.com. I'll go to the free library, and then that is going to take me to my password protected page. So this is a free thing that's for email subscribers. And you'll want to go and page all the way down to the engraving section. And then you're going to see when it's dark enough, and that's the design we're going to do. And then you just go ahead and grab that zip file. So I'm going to open up Cricut Design Space. I've got a new canvas, and I'm going to do upload image, grab that SVG, and there it is. So I'm going to save that and click on it to select it and then insert image. And there we've got it. Okay, so step 5 is to create a simple shape template. So this is so easy and it's been so helpful. So I've got a square and I'm going to change it to draw. And then I'm going to come up to the size and change this to 8. And because the lock is on, it kept the same size constraints, so it's changed it to 8 by 8. And now I can take my design and I can make it bigger to fit. And let's see. Let's see what I want it to look like. That's too big. And I might just want to go ahead and cheat a little bit and change the constraints so that it fits a little bit better. Now it keeps wanting to grab this, which is annoying, so I'm going to send that to the back. So now it'll grab this more easily. So let's see, I think that'll look really nice and fit my box. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select both of those. I'm going to come up to the line center like that, and then it's perfectly aligned. So now I'm going to go, because they're both still selected, I'm going to go down to attach. And now I'm going to change this to draw as well. And select, got them both. And I'll change this to another color. Now I'm going to go back to that dark enough engraving and I'm going to duplicate it. And I'm going to change it to Engrave. So it's the exact same size. It's exactly what we want, although this one says Engrave and this one says Draw. And that's what we need. So now let's press go. Make it. Not go yet. Make it. Okay, the next step is to prep the mat. So I'm actually out of painter's tape, which I usually use. And so instead, I'm using just regular masking tape. I've got a purple strong grip mat, and I've taped my image or my plate down on all 4 sides and pressed it down in the center so it's adhering to the mat. And I've got my engraving tool, and I'm just going to take out my fine tip. And then you can see with the engraving tool, it's got the little wheel here, and so that's going to go right into their second carriage B. I shut that, and I've got it positioned at the 2 and the 2. So we're just going to go ahead and make sure that we've got everything positioned there on our screen. Okay, so for this next step, we're going to go ahead and just make sure that our mat represents our image here on our mat prep screen. And so on this mat prep screen, I can say that 4 times, there's the engrave and there's the draw. So they think we're going to do 2 things or not. So we're going to click on the second one here, which is what I've got. And then those 3 dots, it says move object. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to tell me that I can choose to move it to the first one, which I want. And so now we have our template, which is the red, and we have our engraving, which is the black. So I'm going to go ahead and do 2 and 2. And whenever you're doing engraving, it makes a big difference if you go ahead and use that magnify, because we really do want it precise as possible. Okay. And then I can go ahead and click on this and drag it on up. And now I can just move it until I don't see that red anymore. Oops. That looks good. And so now I know it's perfectly aligned on the plate. So I click on this again. So I've got that template and I put hide selected. And now if I zoom out, you can see that all I have here is the engraving. So check over here, it says engraving. And again, my plate is at the 2 and the 2. Goes to the 10. So everything looks right. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to load my mat. Okay, so then the next step here is to go ahead and put continue. And we've got the base material, which we're going to be, actually I'll just, anodized aluminum is what we're going to use. You could do stainless steel too. That's kind of like the heavy hitter. It's got the most pressure and power, but we're just going to do the aluminum. Actually, I think they have aluminum sheet. I don't do this a whole lot. I usually just go for the stainless steel. Okay, aluminum sheet. Let's do that. And then we've got the engraving tip loaded. And now we just go ahead and press go. Which is that little Cricut button. Okay, so it's all done. Looks great. I'm going to unload it. And then I'm going to take the tape that's on the sides here and just peel it up. And then there's a bunch of little, like just kind of a dusting of debris on here from where the engraving went through and took off, basically a top layer. So I'm going to use the tape to pick that up, like so. And oops. Okay. And you guys can see that. I think it looks pretty amazing. Can see that. And yeah, there we go. Looks great. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to engrave with infusible inks on your Cricut Aluminum. If you did, go ahead and please hit subscribe and be sure to check out my channel for more engraving tutorials. And be sure to stop by wellcraftedstudio.com to get the free design that you can use to create this project. Thanks for watching.